Right, let's continue focusing on news from other parts of the African continent. World leaders have condemned a military coup in Burkina Faso. The army has announced it's deposed President Roch Kabore and suspended government. The coup comes after anti-government protesters vented their frustration over the killing of civilians and soldiers by militants, some linked to the Islamic State and al-Qaeda. eNCA Duty Editor Crystal Orderson joins me now to unpack it all. So what dramatic events there, Crystal, in Burkina Faso, the land of the upright? Take it back. What happened?
Well, Tulas, I think the past 48 hours we saw different reports emerging that the military kidnapped the president and also held them at an undisclosed venue. They, of course, didn't say anything, and there was just utter confusion. Now, you know, covering the continent, the only way you know a coup has happened if they've seized the national broadcaster, and that's what happened. And so it emerged today that, you know, the military has taken power. They are going to take and put the country on a path of democracy. But I think it's important to trace back what has happened in the land of the upright. Of course, they couldn't even celebrate the Stallions winning Gabon in penalty on Sunday, you know, small country going, furthering their game plan in the Africa Cup of Nations. And I think ultimately what's at the heart of this, Tulas, is violent extremism that has taken shape not only in Burkina Faso, but also in Mali. We've had 4 coups over the past year in Mali, Guinea, Chad, and now Burkina Faso. So it's as if the military is quite confident they can simply, if they're not happy with what's happening, they can simply take a president to the barracks, keep him there, and then negotiations happen to actually, eventually, get him released.
And the pretext for it all, Crystal, is that the government of President Kabore seems to be helpless and helpless against Islamic jihadists. That's where it started. How did it go from there and escalated to now? Actually, you know, we don't only want you to respond better to the jihadists, we actually want you out of office.
I think, Tulas, we've not unpacked what does jihadist actually mean. We know that it's happening in Chad, it's happening in Mali, and now in Burkina Faso. Ultimately, it's about poverty. And it's about marginalization. It's about political elites thinking they can continue as if it's business as usual, leaving young people to fend for themselves, added to, you know, COVID to the mix. I think you just have a pot that's boiling over. So for the past year in Burkina Faso in particular, we've had killings, you know, 50 people being killed in a village. And, you know, it's just another headline. In our case, it's a crawler. But this has really impacted on livelihoods. So one, you see communities being wiped out by these jihadists. But actually, it's young people that's just looking for something to eat, quite frankly. The soldiers, we know that the army is particularly very powerful across West Africa, especially in Francophone Africa. They've demanded, they've, you know, told the president, they've told the military, we are unhappy. You're not giving us the right equipment, you're not looking after us, and we are dying. It's simply been ignored. So this has been brewing. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, there was an attempted coup. We just, you know, didn't hear much of it. And so this is happening to us in a region that's already fragile. You know, Mali had a coup last year. They've just been suspended by the regional body ECOWAS. You know, still sort of instability in Chad. So unfortunately, the region is not looking good.
In fact, I'd want you to go there, Crystal, as we draw to a conclusion. The response from ECOWAS, you'll know from our interactions that I'm a fan of their swiftness in responding to a military coup. They always tend to respond quite swiftly. This is not to say that they're a perfect regional body. They've got a lot of other problems. The you know, overbearing influence of France, for example, being one of the criticisms. But on this aspect, you and I know, I'm a fan. Have we heard from them, and are we expecting them to do this? How high are the stakes given the number of coups that have happened around that region?
Just like you, I'm also a fan of ECOWAS. I think as a regional body, they've always come out very strongly. This initial statement has been very tame, condemning it. I think there's a lot of behind-the-scenes talks happening. ECOWAS is not going to take this lying down, because if they just simply sit quietly, the entire region is simply going to think, oh, we can have another coup d'etat. They came out very strongly against Mali just 2 weeks ago, suspending them from all activities. I think they're going to do the same in Burkina Faso. And I think given what we know in terms of the history of ECOWAS, Sierra Leone, Liberia, I don't think they're going to simply accept what's happening in Burkina Faso.
Let me push my luck then, Blaise Compaoré. And we've got very brief time to do this. Is there a spectre of Blaise Compaoré somewhere in the backdrop, and the likelihood that perhaps people linked to him could seek to make a comeback?
Absolutely. You can never underestimate it, Tulas, because remember, Roch actually pushed Compaoré out. He also charged him for the death of Thomas Sankara. So there's a lot of, political anger within the Compaoré camp. And so I would not take that for granted.
All right, let's leave it there. Thank you for your time and insights. That's Duty Editor here at eNCA, Crystal Orderson, just unpacking that situation playing itself out in Burkina Faso.